Thank you. Good afternoon. Nearly there. I think it's the pre-ultimate session. We've got a very exciting session in store for you now. Quick introduction. So what we're going to be talking about today is ESG technology and the role that asset performance management plays. So I'm Vijay. I'm based in Dubai, but I'm the CTO for APJ and MIA. I work for IFS, and for those of you that don't know about IFS, we're all about the assets, right? Our capability, our technology is all about keeping assets up. Because if assets are up and running, it's adding value to your business and your organization. If they're down and they're not working, it's adding cost. Production stops, there's no end product, it's adding cost. Miners are there twiddling their thumbs, engineers are there twiddling their thumbs. So we're all about the full life cycle, actually, of an asset, from procurement to the implementation through projects, the actual operation of the asset. And remember, the mining industry is very asset rich, right? We're talking equipment, we're talking vehicles, we're talking machinery, right? So, and the operation of the asset also includes the maintenance of the asset, right? Be that AI-enabled or predictive maintenance to the more traditional bringing out an engineer when scheduled maintenance needs to be done. And all this, again, is all to ensure maximum uptime to stop unscheduled downtime, basically, which really hurts a business, especially the mining industry. The last thing we do around the asset is the actual retirement or the decommissioning of the asset. And then coming a full circle in terms of the circular economy is recommissioning that asset, which again, really does play into the ESG agenda. So what we're going to be talking about today is ESG technology and the role asset performance management plays. And I'm really excited to introduce two of our customers. Okay, so Sam from BHP, Ian from Peabody Energy, and my colleague Bas. We were sitting in the back room just discussing how many years of experience we have between the four of us. 90 years. So it's 90 years of experience, right? And I'm going to get the guys to introduce themselves very shortly and how many years of experience they bring. So let's get to it. Sam, do you want to introduce yourself first? Very quick introduction, and how many years of experience you have.
Thanks, Vijay. So my name's Sam. I've got over a decade experience with BHP, particularly in operations improvement and as an operations leader. Most recently, I've been looking after the technology portfolio for the remote operations center and a bit more in air quality.
Thanks, Sam. My name's Ian Dixon. I've been with Peabody for 11 years now, looking after all their operational technology, a lot of asset health focused. Prior to that, about 10 years with Honeywell and previously Matricon, doing very similar roles there.
And I'm Bas Beemsterboer, coming from the Netherlands. I'm the Evangelist for asset management at IFS. 3 decades of experience. This is, shown by my hairdo. Did a lot of, implementations of asset management in this world, ranging from mining to refineries to food and beverage. I started my career in the soup industry, so dehydrated soups for Unilever. That's where I started to learn about maintenance and asset management.
Thank you, Bas. I think we can probably distinguish who's the oldest out of our panel.
Thank you.
And who is the youngest out of our panel. Right, Sam, so let me ask you the first question. So what are some of the key challenges mining companies face when attempting to balance profitability with ESG goals? And how can asset performance management help address these challenges?
Sure, thanks, Vijay. So mining is essential for global economic development and decarbonisation. And we have an obligation and a responsibility as an industry to operate as efficiently and sustainably as possible. I think it's a bit of a trap to get to think of profitability and ESG innovation and KPIs as this zero-sum game. I think the challenge of our industry has actually been correctly apportioning the true value to ESG. And I think that's where asset performance management can really help in helping customers understand their asset and their assets value chain.
Thank you, Sam. Same question to Ian.
Yeah, taking from a technology standpoint, I think one of the problems is people often go to that, nth degree solution, things like machine learning algorithms, fleet conversions to gas or other things, without thinking of all the low-hanging fruit. Just standardising how we collect our data, automating that process, standardising how we do our reporting on it, that sort of things. I think APM really helps in that space, brings the tools, the processes, and most importantly, standards to help everyone review that data and react to it in the same way.
Thank you, Ian. And Bas, from a kind of technology perspective, how does an asset performance management platform help operational efficiency and reduce that kind of environmental impact?
Yeah, I think maybe before we start answering that question, we should look at what asset performance management actually is. I think for many people, it's like a technology that helps us get to mining 4.0, mining 5.0, whatever that means. Typically, 5.0, 4.0 is to add the current technology that we have in asset management, like censored assets, or make assets smart, or buy smart assets, and turn that into the data into information. But I think asset performance management is more than just technology. I think for me, asset performance management is a method, almost like a way of life, I would say, to help you achieve value. And I think, value is what we're all after. And sometimes I think, that people buy technology because the technology is bright and shiny, forget to align it with what a company actually wants. And this is where, many people maybe in the audience have started up POCs, bought technology, went to a beautiful, exhibition like this one and look around and all these fantastic technologies that you can acquire, even implement this proof of concept successfully, but then fail to operationalize this as business as usual. And I think one of the key tenets of asset performance management is to align whatever it is that you do with technology to where the company wants to go. And when the company, I think, practically everybody that is speaking here today is talking about ESG, is talking about net zero, is talking about electrification. And I think those are the kind of goals that we need to go after. We need to apply asset management and asset performance management to reach value goals so that we can explain to our superiors, to our boards, this is why we're doing it. We're aligning with the company strategy. And now APM is going to help us increase revenue or increase margin, maybe. We don't like to talk about cost cutting, even though improving margin is kind of the same. But ESG and sustainability are fantastic goals to apply to asset management. But if the board doesn't see it, our POCs will fail. So I think it's all about value and where it sits.
And Bas, I totally agree with you. I mean, there's a lot of hype in the industry, right? Digital twins, LiDAR technology, there's a lot of hype. And I think you said a key word there, which is value. Mm-hmm. I think showing value through the POCs, showing the quick wins, but also showing how this can be delivered on a larger scale, not just from a POC perspective, is very, very important. But really separating the hype from reality. Yeah. What tech can actually help to improve operational efficiency, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Tech does help. And I think, sustainability is a fantastic goal, right? So asset management can help in many ways. I think people see us, maintenance people, as people that consume money, whose budget can be cut if we want some quick ROI. And I think it's our job to prove almost that, with the technology, we can create or produce uptime. And when you produce uptime, you give, actually you're directly responsible with your assets for more revenue. And I think, from a technology standpoint, from sensors to acquiring data to treating it with artificial intelligence, to go to this hen with the golden eggs, which is, predictive maintenance and prescriptive maintenance, all of these themes aid in increasing value, whatever that value driver is, right? Whether it is ESG, whether it is safety, whether it is compliance, whether it is revenue, or whether it is margin. And, all of those value drivers are ultimately affected by doing good asset performance management.
Agree, totally agree. Thank you, Bas. I'd love to hear, Sam, from your side now, in terms of at BHP, how APM has helped with operational efficiency and environmental impact.
Yeah, sure thing. So our community partnerships are vital to value creation. BHP Iron Ore operates within the townships of both Newman and Port Hedland, and APM has been a vital strategic lever in enabling our next generation of our air quality management system to manage dust within those townships. So as an example, a key control for dust is obviously moisture, but excess moisture actually leads to increased diesel consumption from the additional weight of railing and shipping. So having an APM on your asset, enabling your operations to understand the asset they're operating, to combine all that information together, whether it be your wind speed, your moisture levels, your what your systems are doing, your rates, your throughputs, all these things, putting all that information together so that your controllers can make smarter, faster, and just more consistent decisions to eliminate dust, but also to minimize environmental impact, has just been incredible.
Excellent. And all of that helps towards increasing operational efficiency, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's all about data, right? It's all about knowledge. You know, people often say knowledge is king. And in that example that you gave, you've got all the data points that you need to make good decisions that will, you know, improve operational efficiency, reduce environmental impact. So it's a great example.
100%. You're just empowering your people with the right information to make the right calls, and providing that data to them is how you do it.
Thank you, Sam. Ian, let's talk about Peabody. Can you give us some examples of where operational efficiency, APM has helped with operational efficiency, Ian?
Yeah, definitely. I guess in the mining industry, we have massive requirements for environmental monitoring in and around our pits. Often that comes with large infrastructure costs because they're always remote, or they're very hard to get to. Or, you know, large labour costs, travel costs, material costs, those sorts of things. That manual sampling is often quite hard as well. So manually collecting that data when you need it. Usually you need it when there's an issue going on, massive rainfall events, and often makes it very hard to get to those locations. So I guess from an APM standpoint, we've implemented quite small footprint sensors to collect that data, bring them back into a centralised location, just allowing all of our environmental people to review that data in a standard format from all their locations, have standard triggers to be able to react to it in real time, whereas before it would have been a very manual, laborious process.
And I think, again, a key phrase, real time.
Yep.
Right? There's no point finding out the next day. You can't do much about it the next day, right?
Yeah, that's
But real
right.
time, you can execute actions to fix the situation there and then.
Yeah, as I said, usually when you do need to react to that data, you actually can't get it because it's too hard to get to, it's dangerous. Yeah, so having that in real time really helps that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ian. I love these examples. Let's talk some more examples, Bas. Can you share some more examples where technology, specific, doesn't have to be asset performance management, but where technology has helped from a sustainability perspective?
Well, it's always asset performance management because what we say at IFS, it's always about the assets anyway.
Absolutely.
It's the assets that produce the goods or the services that we sell. But I think, we talk a lot about net zero here today and about, the net zero or real zero initiatives that I heard, the first speaker all the way in the morning discuss. And I think electrification of fleet is a very obvious one that many people talk about. I read this fascinating example of a mine site which has to carry full loads down and empty loads up. And basically, with their fleet is auto-charged, with the regenerative braking. So you never have to charge those mining trucks, and this opens up your mind, right? So, and when we talk about electrification of other equipment, we don't only have fleets, right? So everything that you operate is kind of operating with an electric motor in that case, right? So when we electrify everything that we do, it means that we're introducing a lot of electric motors, into our operations. And the funny thing about motors is that they are actually almost like born inefficient. And I think, so applying technology to measure energy efficiency will then, help us overcome, this kind of burden, I would say almost, of, when they ask you about your green hobby, which is then, become sustainable, they always say, it's very nice, but it costs money. And actually, green and gold, they go together. If you look at it, a 100 horsepower motor, which I'm sure that you're going to buy if you electrify all your equipment, if you let it run for 24/7 for 20 years, which is hopefully how long that motor will run, it has a certain purchase cost, but the total cost of ownership of that motor is like $3.5 million in energy that it consumes. And every motor is inefficient, and if you don't measure that, you don't even know it, but you're 10 to 15% is what they estimate. So you let, let's say, 10 to 15% of $3.5 million on the table.
Yeah.
If you don't do APM on your electric motors. So just give an example. This is, huge CO2 effect, let's say impact. It's, it's sustainable asset performance management. That's what it is. And I think, we need to electrify, but we need to monitor in order to become completely green.
I want to pick up on that truck. So
Yeah.
are you saying that as the truck comes down with a full load, empty load, comes down, the brakes charge the battery up.
With a full load, it goes down.
It goes down full load. Is that charge enough to get that truck back up to the top again?
It is, absolutely.
Wow.
So that is a truck that never needs to be charged. Of course, you need to have this unique situation where the mine is up and the process plant is down. But absolutely. Yeah.
Brilliant. Net zero.
Fantastic.
Net zero right there, right?
Can't be more zero than that.
Brilliant. Thank you. Great example. I'd love to hear some more examples from you guys. Ian, do you want to go first?
Yeah. I guess having all that data collected and at hand allows you to do a lot of analytics on that data. So one of the things we've been focusing on recently is diesel usage. So fuel and diesel is obviously one of our biggest costs and obviously one of the biggest emitters as well. So we've used our APM tool sets to really drill down in that fuel usage and identify areas of waste in the circuits, such as idle time and even incorrect truck configurations. That's allowed us to identify that, remove those issues, and then also monitor that going forward. So having that data, as I said before, in real time allows you to then put rules in place to monitor deviations in that new normal as well.
Brilliant. Thank you. Sam, any more examples from BHP?
Yeah, so I think technology and data analytics are just pivotal to apportioning that correct value to our ESG innovation and KPIs. I've already spoken a bit to our dust management, but another great example, another opportunity we're eyeing off is carbon accounting. So what is the carbon cost of our operations? What's the carbon cost of this mine plan versus another mine plan? What's the carbon cost of this haul route compared to another haul route? And I think for us now, being able to understand our assets to that level of detail is actually starting to be built into our social license to operate. To strengthen that trust within the communities that we operate, we have to demonstrate that level of understanding of our assets, and we need to be able to show that to the public and to the government and to external regulators that we are taking those ESG metrics into account in our decision making, and we've got the data to back it up.
Brilliant. And I love what you said about, kind of benchmarking, right? Comparing trucks, different parts, different routes, and having that knowledge and data to ascertain why is a particular route or a particular truck or a particular driver, if there's a driver in the truck, inefficient compared to others, and then actually doing something about it, right? To improve the efficiency.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's where, this comprehensive understanding of your asset, understanding the implications, not just, maybe from like a dollars per ton value, but from a carbon accounting perspective, from a dust emissions perspective, and enabling and equipping your controllers, frontline operations with that information to make the best decision, at the right time, not, looking backwards, is absolutely imperative for our social license to operate.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you so much. Final question to Bas. I'm going a bit off-road now. This wasn't part of the script. You mentioned Industry 5.0 earlier.
I did.
I think, many of us have just got our head around Industry 4.0. So could you just quickly explain Industry 5.0 and how is it reality? Is it hype? And how does that support APM?
It's interesting. Somebody told me a story about, the person, it's an Italian engineer who actually invented, Industry 4.0 is what I understand. And he says that 5.0 does not exist. But I think the world does need 5.0, and it's for this reason. 4.0 is about making assets smart or buying them smart and applying asset performance management to the asset to, let's say, operate better, cheaper, safer, more sustainable, what have you. But I think the one thing that we apply to our knowledge and to our APM is artificial intelligence too. And I think you talked about trust, and you talked about trust from the community. I think, we also need trust inside our own corporations, and not everybody is going to trust an AI, like an invisible entity that will tell you what to do and why to do it. So we call it prescriptive maintenance, and somehow we all want it, but we don't really trust it. And I think maintenance 5.0 is trying to bridge that gap by, first of all, being, it's all about sustainability. So apply APM and apply asset management to sustainable goals with energy efficiency and the things that we talked about. But at the same time, make it explainable to humans so that we, let's say, almost collaborate with the AI. I think there's not some kind of, at least not in IFS, some kind of Google that is overseeing everything that you do. Yeah. We're trying to help. We're trying to, so apply this technology for early anomaly detection to make sure that we look at all the data that is flowing in and finding patterns that maybe a human could not see, and then explain to the human why the decision is, et cetera, et cetera. I think 5.0 is key to land technology in the hands of the people, so before it becomes successful.
I was told a very simplified definition, if I can share that with you all,
Please.
Where Industry 4.0 was all about removing humans, device enabling, sensor enabling equipment or machinery. But Industry 5.0 is actually bringing humans back to bring that human creative perspective to further enhance operational efficiency and these types of aspects. But how real is Industry 5.0, Vas?
No, to me, it's real. I think we need it. I think if we don't do it, let's say, mindful of my own comment about POCs. POCs for maintenance 4.0 or APM 4.0, mining 4.0, you can buy them on every street corner. But in order to make it land and to make it, let's say, operationalize, inside the corporation, make sure that everybody does it and believes it. I think we need 5.0 in order to use 4.0. It's also not going to replace 4.0, right? It's building on top and making sure that we actually use it as humans.
Brilliant. Thank you. I want to thank each and every one of my panel, especially our customers, BHP, Peabody Engineering. Bas, thank you very much. And thank you all for listening. If you've got questions, our IFS stand, it's the purple stand. As you come out, just on the left. So please, the four of us will be at the stand the next couple of days. So look forward to speaking to you all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.